I've been plagued by stalkers for a few weeks now. When I was walking down the alley in front of my house at night, I felt an unfamiliar presence behind my back. The crowd got closer and closer, and when I looked back, there was no one there, only my shadow swaying under the street lamp. These days, the severity has gotten worse, and it wasn't once or twice that I woke up to unfamiliar people while sleeping in my bedroom. When I woke up and turned on the light, there were black footprints next to the bed. I shuddered and barely fell asleep, and when I woke up again, the footprints were gone. I tried installing a camera in my bedroom and even tried calling the police. The camera didn't take anything and the police said they couldn't find any evidence. I tried to send the investigation to the errand center, but I was only ridiculed about going to a psychiatric hospital. It was a stalker whose identity was ambiguous. It was probably living in my shadow. My encounter with the shadow stalker began a few weeks ago in the winter mountains. Since childhood, I have loved snowy winter mountains. The mountain was just a small mountain behind the neighborhood, but it was a good refuge for me as I had no place to go when I was young. When the snow fell and the mountain roads were erased, no one was walking, so it was like a world of my own. It was also the day when heavy snow was predicted, so I was the only person climbing the mountain. That day I was lost. It's not a very tall mountain, so if you walk straight in any direction, you can go down in less than an hour. As I was walking around, I noticed something strange. A huge black egg was placed halfway up the mountain. There was no way such a huge egg could exist, but there was no other way to describe it other than an egg. I cautiously approached and inspected the black egg. It was hard and cold. Should I say it's like a big egg? Something seemed ominous, so I turned away. If that egg breaks, something big will happen. Since I found the black egg that day, someone has been following me. That day, I barely got out of the mountains, and I suffered from a cold for several days. There was no one to take care of me, so I was struggling alone, and someone knocked on the front door. I went out into the living room and turned on the intercom. There was only black darkness outside the door. I went back to my bedroom and lay down again, but the knocking on the door continued. I covered my ears and stayed up all night shaking. The knocking continued until morning. After weeks of suffering like that, I was beside myself. Sometimes things seem strange these days. It looks black and white reversed. Black looked white and white looked black. When the sight was reversed like this, the familiar world felt very strange. It was unfamiliar, but not scary. Rather comfortable. It was like being in a snowy mountain. But that comfort didn't last long. In a world where black and white are reversed, the stalker's behavior has become more severe. It knocked on the front door louder than before, and openly made footsteps behind my back. Even in my white shadow, as if something was about to be born, the shadow increased and shrank and shook dizzily. I climbed the snowy mountain again to solve the shadow stalker. The black egg I saw that day seemed to solve all my problems. Should I break the black egg? Is it okay if the egg breaks? I walked and pondered, but the answer did not come out. First I had to find the black egg. I tried to find the mountain trail I went that day, but I couldn't find it at all. The mountains of that day and the mountains of today were completely different spaces. I wandered through the winter mountains. I don't know how much time has passed. The day seemed a little dark. I suddenly had a headache. It was a headache that I felt when my vision was reversed in black and white. The white winter mountains looked black. Black Mountain was a completely different space from the winter mountains I knew. Only then did the black egg appear. The number of black eggs was much higher than last time. There were also white eggs. The winter mountains, which were my resting place, felt like a fearful and unfamiliar place. Is this really the world I knew? I sat down. My head hurt so much. Then, there was a sound of footsteps. Looking back, my shadow, which had turned white, stood up alone and was walking toward the black egg. It was a shadow stalker. The shadow turned around and looked at me once before disappearing into the black egg. Then the black eggs began to crack. I passed out with a severe headache. I think I was dizzy for a while. I came to my senses. The mountain turned white again. The black eggs I saw were just mounds of round snow. A black egg or a shadow stalker, can't something like that actually exist? My head seems clear. I was just a little bit mentally stressed. I'm sure it will be. Strangely, however, this place was a little different from the winter mountains I knew. Where should I go? No matter where I went, it seemed that there would be no place to rest for me. I couldn't see the way to go. The winter mountains were no longer my refuge.